For years, I thought life just happened to me. Expectations, deadlines, and the invisible pressure to do more and be more all the freaking time. But one mindset shift changed everything for me. And it's when I realized that life doesn't happen to you, it happens with you, and you can decide how you show up for it. If you've been chasing a version of success that doesn't belong to you, and you felt stuck in the rat race and you felt like you were burning out, or you currently feel like you're burning out, this video is for you. But first, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a therapist in private practice supporting moms who are experiencing burnout, and I'm also a mentor for overwhelmed, overachieving women who want to slow down and have a more fulfilling life. If you'd like to work with me, I offer a mentorship program, which is in the description below. But for now, let's jump into the video. At the beginning of my slow living journey, change was, slow. And I had a very ingrained understanding of life and understanding of myself. And when I had made the transition to go into my own private practice instead of working for someone, I was reading a book called Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less by Greg McKeown. And there was a quote in there that at the time, it struck me, but I wasn't able to internalize it really well. And the more I sat with it, though, the more it made sense to me, and honestly is something that I think really embodies my thought process about life and what I teach my clients in my mentorship program. And the quote that he has in this book called Essentialism is, "If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will." I'm going to say that again. If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. And most of my life had been that way. I let other people and jobs and expectations dictate how I was living my life. I wasn't living out of alignment with what mattered to me, with what I valued. I was living a life that was set out by society and by others. And it's so true. If you don't know what matters to you and you don't know your values and you don't prioritize those things, then you just default to what is expected of you from others that you know and from society. And so, yeah, in that way, you go on autopilot and you live a life based on other people. So, I, when I came to that realization that I was not living my life in alignment with who I was or what I wanted, that was like the biggest shift for me. And the thing is, when we live a life where we let others dictate it and we feel like life is happening to us, that can be extremely disempowering, right? If you always think that life is happening to you and that the negative things in life that come up because it's life and life sucks sometimes, you can really put yourself in a victim mentality, which I often did. I often said to myself, like, why is it that I always get the jobs that burn me out? Why is it that, I'm always not feeling well. I'm exhausted. Why is it that my relationships weren't working? Why is it that um, I really couldn't take care of myself? And I always blamed it on other stuff. It was because of my bosses. It was because of the job. It was because of the situation I was in, whatever. But life was happening to me. And those things are true. I had difficult bosses. I was in difficult situations. And, but when you fall back and you just think life is happening to you, I really had a woe is me mentality. Like, oh, like there's no exit. I'm stuck because I have no control over my life. Life just happens and it sucks. But that is, like I said, disempowering. But when you take a step back and you realize that you honestly have control over your life, that is what's empowering. Now, I understand that We need money to live, we need a job, but you can apply for other jobs. You can get out of bad relationships. You can do other things that make you passionate. You can have other priorities that are more meaningful than societal priorities. I'm not ignorant to the fact that there are some things that are outside of our control, but when you do have things in your control, you should jump on those. You should take advantage of that, and you should make the changes you need to make to live the life that you want. Not the life everybody else wants you to live, the life that you want to live. And when we don't do that and we live a life according to what society tells us we want from life, you know, I did the things. I finished school, got my master's degree, bought a house, got married, bought a house, had a baby. Like, that's the trajectory that society tells you to take, right? I did it. I did the thing. Does it make me better than you if you didn't do the thing? No, hell no. It doesn't make a difference. You know, but when we try and follow society's path, when it's not actually aligned with what we want from life, that leads to burnout. That leads to us entering a rat race that we never wanted to be a part of. Because you do not have to follow what society says. You don't have to buy a house. You don't have to have a baby. You don't have to go higher in education. You don't have to do any of those things. And to force yourself to do those things when they're not actually what you want can be super detrimental. But here's the thing, just because you're told you should do something and people in your life that you maybe even respect say that you should do a thing, or that shouldn't be what dictates how you live your life. Because maybe it worked for them and that's awesome, that's cool, but doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And people repeat the societal expectations rather than what they truly think is best for you. They're not doing this maliciously. But when you grow up in a society that tells you to follow a certain path, to do a certain thing, to live a certain way, to hustle and grind because that's going to bring you success, they're not going to tell you the opposite because that's what they know. Even if they don't have facts to prove that that's actually going to bring you the life that you want. So, for instance, we get told that if we want to make money, we want to get higher promotions, we want to, I don't know, really stand out at work, we have to hustle, we have to grind, we have to do long hours, right? I've worked in a lot of different environments. I'm a therapist. I actually specialize with burnout and a lot of times professional burnout. That story of hustle is just a fast track to burnout. I know so many people who have given 110% and it has gotten them nowhere. It didn't get them more recognition. It didn't get them a higher paying job. It didn't get them more money. It got them burnout. It got them being used. It got them feeling disempowered. And it got them feeling bitter. And I'll speak for myself. I was bitter. When you work so hard, but it's almost expected, and yet you're not paid for going above and beyond because going above and beyond is now the new standard. No, I'm sorry, folks, but no, that is not how I want to live my life. And so when I really took a step back and slowed down and looked at like what society was telling me I should and shouldn't do, and I realized that this is not what I want from life, and I don't have to follow it. Wow, mind changing. Like, and then when you take that control and you actually, you know, control the where your time and energy is going, where your priorities are, your boundaries, when you take control and you realize little by little that you have the control over your own life and you see the benefits of it, because I've worked with different mentorship clients, and when they take that control, they're like, wow, I didn't recognize how many places in my life, how many areas of my life that I could change by small, meaningful actions, and my life is better for it, right? You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You don't have to follow society's version of success. You don't have to follow the 5-year plan. You do need to figure out what you want from life and lead a life aligned with that. And when you do that, and when you have that mindset shift that you have control over your life and you can take it, and it doesn't take so much effort, it's actually in the small things, it's in the boundaries you set in it every day, it's in the energy that you put in different activities. When you do that, a whole new world opens up for you. And you will realize that you have been missing so much following this path that's been set out for you. But we don't want that path. Yes, it's paved and there's markers and they tell you where to go every step of the way. There's even a map. But why travel down a path that leads you somewhere you don't even want to go? Now, the other path that you could take, it's a bit overgrown, okay? There are no markers. There's a lot of foliage to look at, lots of pretty flowers. There's no map. And that's terrifying for people because we want so much to have things be clear. We want so much to be told what to do. And I get it. That's why I took the paved path. But this path, this overgrown path, is going to lead you to the life that you want to live. And you won't be a lot of people on that path. Everybody else is going on the paved path, right? You're going to have a couple people on that path with you, the overgrown path that leads to the life that you want to live. But you are going to like it so much more because for you, it's not just the destination, it's the journey. Because honestly, there is no final destination until our death. You are here for the journey. That is what you're here for. I want you to enjoy the adventure of life, of the career you have, of entrepreneurship, of motherhood, of parenthood, of whatever, okay? And the thing is that I do want to say is you're going to have a lot of people against you. There's going to be people like blocking your path and they're going to be like, dum-dum, go over here. Why are you going on there when you could go to the paved path? And they're going to be like, everybody does it. Like, come on, come over here. People are going to say that, okay? But don't let someone dictate your life, especially when you don't want the life they're living. So, all that to say, you want to escape hustle culture? Awesome. Take control. It's your life to live. You only get one. So, don't let anybody else get in your way. Don't let anybody else tell you what you do and don't prioritize. The only person who knows you fully is you. If you would like support with this in creating your own path and following it and knowing what actually matters to you, because sometimes we don't actually know what matters to us, then I do offer a mentorship for this. The information is in the description below. I would love to support you. But until then, I hope that it at least starts getting you thinking about what you do have control of in your life. And as always, I'll see you next time and keep living your authentic life.